authorized representative of the village. It is further resolved that the Incorporated Village of Bayville requests the funds and assistance available from the New York State WIRE grant and will comply with all rules and regulations of this program. And be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees appoint Maria Alfano Hardy, administrator and clerk treasurer of the village as the village's MBO officer for any New York State WIRE grant received. It's further resolved the Board of Trustees authorize H2M architects and engineers to submit the grant applications on behalf of the village.
That's 2 weeks from now, that's the meeting.
Yes, that's why we're looking to do it at this meeting, so that we have them all approved and we can get the grant in on time.
Great. I make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecchi.
I will second.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi?
Yes.
The next item on the agenda is a personnel matter. It's a resolution to authorize a $2,500 increase to the annual base salary of Joseph Barusa, who holds a commercial driver's license as per Section 28 of the collective bargaining agreement with the CSEA.
Make a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Di Bartolomeo and Trustee Valsecchi.
Yes.
Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo? Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi?
Yes.
The next item is a request from the Mill River Rod and Gun Club to hold their annual Snapper Derby at West Harbor Beach on, I believe it's Saturday, September 12th, 10th. Okay. This is an event that we have done or have approved annually, and they do provide us with the required certificates of insurance, and we do waive the $70 use of facility fee.
I move that we grant them the opportunity to use the beach.
Thank you, Trustee Nigro.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecchi. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi?
Yes.
There was one item that came in late this afternoon. I apologize. I had to put the copies at your place just a little while ago. It is a proposal from H2M, and it's a proposal that's required for the water supply emergency response plan and vulnerability assessment updates. And the New York State Sanitary Code of Public Health Law states that all community water suppliers must provide an updated emergency response plan and vulnerability assessment for State Health Department review every 5 years. And H2M prepared the last update in 2017, and the next update is due to the State Health Department January 1st, 2023. The cost of this will be charged to the Water Fund, and it includes a task 1 to update the ERP for $4,500 lump sum fee. Task 2, the vulnerability assessment update for a lump sum of $40,000. And then 3, pandemic and cybersecurity update for $2,500 for a total of $11,000. Do I have a motion to accept H2M's proposal?
I make a motion to accept.
Thank you, Trustee Valsecchi.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Trustee Di Natale. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minicozzi?
Yes.
Okay, the next item is the hearing for the proposed local law 2022C, and I will read the notice for the hearing. Please take notice that for the purpose of adopting a codification of the local laws ordinances, and certain resolutions of the Village of Bayville. Said codification to be known as the Code of the Village of Bayville. Public hearing will be held by the Board of Trustees at the Village Hall, 34 School Street, Village of Bayville, New York, on the 22nd day of August 2022 at 6:45 p.m. Let the record show it is 6:47 p.m. to consider the enactment of the proposed local law described and summarized below. Proposed local law number 2022-C, a local law to provide for the codification of the local laws, ordinances, and certain resolutions of the Village of Bayville into a municipal code to be designated the Code of the Village of Bayville. This local law, 1, states the legislation intent of the Board of Trustees in adopting the code. 2, provides for the designation of the local laws, ordinances, and certain resolutions of the Village of Bayville as the Code of the Village of Bayville. 3, repeals local laws and ordinances of a general and permanent nature not included in the code except as provided. 4, saves from repeal certain local laws and ordinances and designates certain matters not affected by repeal. 5, retains the meaning and intent of previously adopted legislation. 6, provides for the filing of a copy of the code in the village clerk's office. 7, provides for certain changes in or additions to the code, including the increasing of certain $250 maximum fine amounts to $500. 8, prescribes the manner amendments in new legislation are to be incorporated into the code. 9, requires that the code books be kept up to date. 10, provides for the sale of code books by the village and the supplementation thereof. 11, prohibits tampering with code books with offenses punishable by a fine of not more than $500 or by imprisonment for not more than 15 days or both. 12, as to land use, amends A, Chapter 66, subdivision of land to exempt exchanges of land between contiguous property owners which do not create a new plot or any zoning violation. B, Chapter 80, zoning, by adding the definition of building, revising the definition of family, adding new definitions for front yard area and pave, establishing front yard area paving limits in all residential zoning districts, amending Section 80-61 regarding fences, and technical changes regarding enforcement. 13, establishes severability provisions with respect to the code generally. 14, provides that the local law will be included in the code as Chapter 1, Article 1. Copies of the local law described above of the code proposed for adoption thereby are on file in the office of the village clerk of the Village of Bayville, where the same are available for public inspection during regular office hours. Please take further notice that all interested persons will be given an opportunity to be heard on said proposed local law at the place and time aforesaid. Notice is hereby given pursuant to the requirements of the open meeting laws of the State of New York that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville will convene a public meeting at a place and time aforesaid for the purpose of conducting a public hearing on the proposed local law described above and as deemed advisable by said board, taking action on the enactment of said local law by order of the Board of Trustees, Village of Bayville, Maria Alfano Hardy, Village Clerk. The notice is dated August 4th. There is an affidavit of publication. For the record, there's an affidavit of posting. The notices were sent to the villages, the clerks of the Village of Mill Neck, clerk of the Town of Oyster Bay, clerk of the Nassau County Legislature, New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, clerk of the Village of Center Island, and clerk of the Village of Laddingtown. The law also had been aged with the mayor and board. Effective aging date was August 4th, 2022. At this time, I will turn this over to you, Mayor, and to you, Village Attorney Weiler.
I guess we might want to hear anybody in the audience that would like to be heard.
Thank you. Pat Pledgey, 8 Cemetery Drive. Again, I'm speaking on behalf of the Bayville Library. And I have 2 thank yous for the board. Last time I came in and made an announcement.
Excuse me, I apologize, Mrs. Pledgey. Right now, you are in the confines, so to speak, of a public hearing, so the comments have to relate to the public hearing. So if you have other comments, those can be done after the close of the public
Sorry.
hearing.
That's all right.
I'm sorry, but
Want to increase the volume.
Does anybody want to be heard on this proposed local laws, the adoption of local laws? No?
Okay, let the record show that there have been no comments.
there
And,
was one letter to be
oh, we
submitted
had,
for
we
the
did have a
record.
letter, yeah, and we should probably read that.
The letter is dated August 17, 2022, to the Village of Bayville, the mayor and the trustees, and it is signed by Peter Basilis. I made submitted for the record. Do you want me to read it for the record?
I think the board, if the board has seen the letter and it's part of the package, I don't necessarily need.
The letter
You
had
don't
been
necessarily
distributed
need
to the
that you
board.
have to read it out
The
loud.
letter had been
Doesn't make it
distributed
like
to
that.
the board.
Yes.
But the board has received a copy of the
Yes,
letter, and they understand what it says, and that is basically the only comment, I guess, that we have received in connection with this public hearing.
Yes.
And it will become part of the record.
And that'll become part of the record, and if I may, I would suggest that the board adopt the following resolutions, which I'm about to read. And this won't take too long. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville.
We should close the hearing first.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay, the hearing, I didn't do that. So let's close the hearing.
So if I could have a resolution, or a motion to close the resolution at 6:45 PM.
I make a motion.
Thank you, trustee Bartolomeo.
Second?
Thank you, trustee Valsecchi. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro? Yes. Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minneke?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You have the microphone.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. Okay, that's better. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville, or Village Board as it is referred to herein, has completed a project for the codification of local laws, ordinances, and certain resolutions of the village for the purpose of increasing the effectiveness of village government and administration. My apologies. Okay, that's all. For the effectiveness of village governmental administration, providing for greater public awareness of and access to village legislation, and protecting the health, safety, and welfare of the village inhabitants. Whereas the Nassau County Planning Commission by resolution dated July 14, 2022, and by letters dated July 15 and July 20, 2022, advised that it has reviewed the land use zoning portions of the proposed local law, and that it defers to the village to take action as it deems necessary and appropriate with respect thereto. And whereas the village board has caused to be prepared an environmental assessment form to determine if the proposed codification will result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and has found that it is the only involved agency to approve the codification. Now therefore be it resolved that the village board declares itself as the lead agency for the SEQR review of the proposed local law 2022C. Do we have a motion for that?
Make a motion.
Thank you,
I'll
trustee.
second.
Thank you, trustee Valsecchi. Trustee Walsh?
Yes.
Trustee Santoro?
Yes.
Trustee Nigro?
Yes.
Trustee Di Natale?
Yes.
Trustee Di Bartolomeo? Yes. Trustee Valsecchi?
Yes.
Mayor Minneke?
Yes.
Okay, the next resolution is called a negative declaration. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Bayville, as Village Board, is considering the adoption of proposed local law 2022C to amend and update the code of the Village of Bayville as set forth in the notice of public hearing dated August 4, 2022, which was duly published and promulgated. And whereas the Village Board has determined that the proposed action is subject to review under the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, known as CEQA, and whereas the Village Board has determined that the proposed action is an unlisted action in accordance with CEQA regulations, and whereas the Board as lead agency has caused to be prepared an environmental assessment form to analyze and consider the potential environmental impacts of the proposed action, and whereas after careful review of the potential impacts, it has been determined that the proposed action will not result in significant environmental impacts. Now therefore, be it resolved, based upon its review of the proposed action to amend and update the code of the Village of Bayville, the Village Board hereby determines that the proposed action will not result in a significant adverse impact on the environment. We need a motion on that resolution, please.
I'll make that resolution.
Thank you, Trustee DiNatale.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Nyberg. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Santoro. Yes. Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee DiNatale.
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo.
Yes.
Trustee Valsetti.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
We now are proposing a resolution for the adoption of a local law which will go as follows. Resolved that after the publication of the notice of the hearing which set forth the time and place when the proposed local law was available to be examined by the public, the Village Board determined to make less restrictive the proposed provisions of Schedule A, page 19 of the codification for Section 80-60D regarding the setbacks for HVAC equipment and emergency generators by making the following changes. In this connection, there is no adoption of the proposed new Section 5, D5 and subsection D6. But the renumbering, the second item is going to be the renumbering of proposed new subsection D8 as subsection 5 and renumbering of proposed new subsection 9 as subsection 6. And further resolved that the proposed local law 2022C be adopted as local law number 3 of the year 2022. A local law to amend the code of the Village of Bayville, be and the same hereby is enacted by the Board of Trustees of the Incorporated Village of Bayville as follows. And I'd like the record to show that a copy of the entire local law with those changes that I have just mentioned that were made after the notice of hearing was published will be part of the minutes of this meeting, and they will be duly filed with the village clerk as well as the Secretary of State of the State of New York. And I don't have anything further to say, but we need a motion on that last.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Trustee
Second.
Valsetti. Thank you, Trustee DiNatale. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Santoro. Yes. Trustee Nyberg.
Yes.
Trustee DiNatale.
Yes.
Trustee DiBartolomeo.
Yes.
Trustee Valsetti.
Yes.
Mayor Minicozy.
Yes.
At this time, the public hearing is completed and the business before the board is completed. Mayor Minicozy, you may open the meeting up to any other comments from the public or the rest of the board.
Ms. Pledge.
I'll be brief. First of all, I just wanted to thank you for two things. When I made the announcement about Cindy Ergen and the backpacks, I can't believe how successful that was.
Oh, great.
And yes, 120 children in the Bayville, Locust Valley area that are less fortunate is getting a backpack filled with all the supplies. That is significant for our village and this board. And I really appreciate that, and everybody does. The people that work at the library were so excited. The other thank you is for your meeting with the renovation, the people on our renovation committee, and the fact that we're back to work there because of all that went transpired. I won't go into detail. Everybody is very pleased with that. We just want to reiterate that there's no more fines on books, and what they want is to tell your friends and neighbors, I know how well that works now, that if they have books outstanding, not to worry, just to bring them back, because that's what they're really looking for. They're looking for their missing materials. The other thing is, I don't know if anybody has had a chance to go into the library, but the Warren Jacobson has some outrageous artwork there. He's on that with Mr. Pecorino on the Art Council board that I think you started. Yes, but he has some beautiful, beautiful artwork there, so don't miss it. And he is going to have a Meet the Artist this Thursday, the 25th, from 5 to 6:30. He's going to have a showing, a little talk, and refreshments. And we got great coverage in the Locust Valley Leader, if anybody gets a chance to read it. And it tells all the things that the library does besides just books. I took out a great big microscope from the Library of Things there, and they have fabulous things that you can take out and enjoy with your children or grandchildren. So it's great. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else like to be heard? No?
Then I'll take a motion. Then I'll ask for a motion to close the meeting at 7:04 p.m.
I move that we close the meeting.
Thank you, Trustee Micro. Trustee Valsecki. Thank you. Trustee Walsh.
Yes.
Trustee Santoro.
Yes.
Trustee Negro.
Yes.
Trustee Tina Howard.
Yes.
Trustee Mayo.
Yes.
Trustee Valsecki.
Yes.
Trustee Mayor Nicosi.
Yes.
You got the engineers, folks.
She's Walsh has thrown us off. She threw off the rhythm.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that is good.
We believe in diversity, Bayville believes in diversity.
You're lucky, you don't have elections every 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah, do we have somewhere to go? Drive around, my children.